All right, we are on campus here at Pleasant Valley High School, and you want to talk about a beautiful field house and weight room, they got it right here. And as you can see, proud supporters of the American flag, so I'm a big fan of that as well. Coach, first of all, Coach Nix, how you been doing, brother? And just you in general before we dive into the team and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, doing great. It's, when you get to come to work in a facility like this every day, it fires you up. And, really excited about the off season we had and, players getting stronger and faster, and that's where the game of football, that's where it'll show on Friday nights.
Coach, you become a staple here in this community, and I think it was a blessing for you to join this community many years ago, and last year you become the 2A Coach of the Year. What's that journey been like? Can you talk about that a little bit? And,
yeah,
it's an incredible journey.
Yeah, it's been, in today's world, everything's about instant gratification. When we first came here, and there's only a couple of coaches that's still with me that was the first year here, and, Pleasant Valley had a little bit of success in playoffs, had never won a playoff game, and hosted a playoff game, but it was in area play. And so it's really, that mentality of, are we supposed to win? And then each year it just seemed like players bought in a little more on work ethic. And it's definitely one of those things that's, been patient with time on that. And there's been some classes that we felt like was a breakthrough. And I really think not just for football, but for all of our sports, going to 2A has helped us tremendously, because when we were 3A, we were always missing 2A by less than 10 kids. I mean, some years we're missing it by, as few as 3 kids. And, and not only was we in 3A, but most of the time, man, we were
SEC East or SEC
dogs.
West.
I'm talking, like quarterfinal replays of the season with somebody from your region is playing for it all when they're meeting back up in the quarterfinals. And, in several of those years, the state champion comes in ours. So, and us finishing in that 5 spot for 3 years, really, we were almost there, and to finish in a 5 spot in that region is almost saying that you're ready for the quarterfinals.
Yep.
And so last year, I really think the turning point of everything was when some of the players and coaches we started making goals of, let's make some unrealistic goals to the outside world. Because most of the people think, hey, if Pleasant Valley can just make the playoffs, man, what a great year. But we want to sit there and, like this group said, we just don't want to make the playoffs. Let's go host a playoff game. And you start making those goals like that, then it's easy as a coach to sit here and say, great teams are led by players. Coaches are just there to help, but great teams are led by players. And when your players are making unrealistic goals to the outside like that, it's so easy then to hold them accountable to say, hey, was today's workout a 10-0 workout? Was today's workout, a trip to the quarterfinals? You tell me, because y'all the one that set this unrealistic goal. And so I think that really helps. But you also got to have leaders that believe in that too. My work ethic is matching my belief. And then we've got a really good group of parents right now that, man, really feed into that. They feed into that with those kids. Man, you can do anything. Everything's possible. Just put your faith in it and put your trust in each other. And when they're hearing that at home and they're hearing that with here, that's dangerous, because sometimes if you have a mixed message, well, I don't know if y'all can win, I don't know if you can do, that doubt seeps into a kid. And a kid at that age is like a dry sponge anyway. You could be sometimes damaging a kid and not even realize you're damaging by the things that you're telling them, because some of them are so beat down anyway.
That's right. No doubt. And I'm going to tell you something, man, what you've done here, and I say this because I went to elementary school here for a year, lived with my Aunt Carolyn Jenkins that was custodian here for years. So, this is a special place. And what you've done is united this community, and these guys are buying in. And look around this facility, look around what you've done. It's truly amazing. What do you think it is, the key ingredients that's, like you said, it's the TikTok generation. They want it instantly, like a microwave. What do you think you've had them to believe in the belief that it's coming? You've cultivated a relationship here. You've cultivated a culture here. It didn't happen overnight. What was the key ingredients to hold this thing together until you got it?
I think one of the things is bringing people together. I mean, like in a size like a school like this, I mean, that's all I know. I mean, I worked at a bigger school in Georgia one time, but most of the time I've been in smaller schools. So, you know, and even graduating from West End, like we did everything together. I mean, like we all played every sport. We all was there for each other.
Like a brotherhood.
And you know, I want to be like somebody else might have been better in basketball, but hey, you know, you want to be there for them. You want to be there, you know, on that team to be a part of it because that was your teammate, man. And we did everything together. And the same thing here, you know, we try to push hard as we can. You know, play something else too. You're just not a football player. I want you to get in here, but also if you can help our school do something, go be a part of it, you know, because now the outside world's trying to grab our kids all the time. And I don't know if every school's seeing it, but, you know, you can go right up the road and you can make some money with these restaurants but then you got your whole life to work.
That's right.
I wouldn't trade my high school experience for anything. And I think that high school experience that the head coaches that I was with and the other coaches instilled in me, I mean, there's things that I still carry to this day that coaches taught me. And, you know, I just hate it that some kids are, you know, chasing that dollar over that, you know, and it's not just here, but everywhere. But this group right here, they really buy into each other. But I think one of the biggest turning points is this building right here.
It's beautiful, man.
I mean, like you won't find a nicer 2A facility in the state. And you know, and it's the awe factor never gets old when somebody walks in here for the first time and say, how in the world did something like this get to Pleasant Valley? And when we first started, you know, drawing up plans for it and stuff like that, and you started selling, you know, the vision of it, you had to get people to buy into it. You know, we used to have racks in the back of the gym. There's, you know, 4 to 6 racks, and you'd kind of take turns on who was working out or who stayed in the gym. And the big thing is this is not just for football. This is for every one of our athletes. Our dance line's in here. I mean, we try to make this a community weight room to get our kids involved in something. And, you know, when we first started dreaming of it, you always got the naysayers, you know, and some of them, Coach, I think we're going to have to win this many games before this comes to, and I said, y'all don't understand. This is what winning, you know, you build something like this, and it's for generations to come. Whoever, you know, plays whatever sport here, you have an opportunity to be your very best and come in here. And, you know, that's what's exciting, you know, and to seeing our players like this team here. There's 9 freshmen that we started 2 years ago when they made the playoffs for the first time in however many years it was, and we played at Pisgah. And, I mean, there's 9 of them guys, and now they're juniors, and just, you know, looking at film of them playing in the 9th grade and what they look like now, I mean,
2 different humans.
It's 2 different humans, and they played a year early, really, than they should have played, but it's just some injuries and stuff like that kind of made that. But, you know, just very proud of them for sticking with that. You know, some kids don't have enough vision and to stick with that and see how could this pay off for me 2 to 3 years from now.
Absolutely. That makes sense. Yeah, and to see those kids' growth as part of it. And like you said, this is the cart ahead of the horse here. You know,
yes, ain't no doubt.
Like I know it's hard to explain that sometimes to people, but the proof's in the pudding now. Now you have some factual stuff that people can look at and say, hey, Coach was right about that right there.
And I say our injuries have went down. I mean, knock on wood. I mean, like, you know, and it's not just for, it's across the board. And we try to track all of our injuries each year and see you know, what's going on. Is there something we can do better, because everything's evolving and there's so many people at the next level that's doing things a better way. And so we try to, you know, have that vision of not a mindset of a know-it-all, because if you think you're a know-it-all, there's somebody already past you.
That's right.
I mean, there's, you know, we had a principal here our vice principal, I miss him dearly, but he used to tell our kids on Power Clean, he said, somewhere, son, there's a girl in China warming up with your Max.
That's true.
And so you better get back in there and you better get after it.
That's true.
Because, like, there's always somebody doing things better.
That's
so
right.
as soon as you think that you've got all the answers in this, there's somebody passing you.
He's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
That goes in coaching. That goes into what I do.
That goes in everything we do.
Everything in life.
So you got to wake up hungry.
That's right, every day. Now, I agree with you on that, and I agree with him on that. Coach, we're going to dive into this season, so to speak. Catch everybody up with the program from last year. Last year was a crazy year. You guys had some ups, some downs, but when that last ball dropped last year to now, just kind of catch everybody up with the program, so to speak.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, as soon as that Soliget game was over, reporters down there, and they're asking two of our leaders, Jaden Sparks and Braxton Salisbury, said, moving on, what do y'all see that you need to do? What's your goals for next year? And that's a tough question to ask somebody right after you lose a playoff game. And both of them said, we want to go 10-0. We want to go 10-0. And they said, well, that's a big goal right there, guys. And both of them talked about the work ethic that it's going to take to have a goal like that. And, whether you achieve that goal or not is the fact that you want to set it high and you want to chase it high means that the standard around here is going up. And that's what's exciting to me. And so, this all season has been great. We've been able to get out there and do, several 7-on-7s, our OTAs, and, just some 7-on-7s with some bigger schools that maybe we won't see as much speed as that. Like we won't see some teams that can run like St. Clair County or, Jacksonville and Anniston. I know they were in our bracket in the FCA tournament over there. Those teams have guys that can run, and so I was real excited about how our players competed with that.
That's right.
How do we compete? How do we control the things that we can control? And then, look, we want people to show us our weaknesses on stuff like that.
That's right.
Now, this team is just so different because when they get exposed of something, they come back with solutions. They come back
Instead of excuses.
Instead of excuses. You see them on a drop pass or something, you see them staying over practice and catching 20 balls. Because we have one saying, don't state a problem unless you've got a solution. Now, we can work together for this solution, but don't just sit here and bellyache about something.
That's right.
Because there's so much of that goes on. Anybody can sit here and tell you problems all day long.
That's right.
It takes real men to come up with solutions with other men and then come out and say, all right, here's our solution for this. And now the fun part is how we're going to hold each other accountable during the week to do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Makes sense. Now, Coach, it's crazy to think this. It's already game week.
Oh my goodness.
That in itself is crazy. But for you, it's a little bit of a homecoming type game. You're going back to play your alma mater, which I know you still know a ton of people there. You grew up there. Them kids over there don't understand. You gave more blood, sweat, and tears in that place than a lot of them have over the years. But talk about that and how you as a coach can't let any of that distract you. You got to stay focused on getting this team out to the best start it could possibly be.
There's no doubt. This is a huge game. And look, last year, what was our team last year, what we got to improve on is there were several games where we jumped up to a 21-0 lead. We jumped up to huge first half, and the third quarter was a letdown. And I was just honest with them. I said, I think some of it's at halftime, your mindset thinks that people's going to quit because maybe you've quit in the past. Okay, you got down 21-0 and maybe you tapped out, so you think that everybody else is going to tap out. So third quarter, like if you bought a $10 ticket to last year's game, it didn't matter who we played, you got your money's worth.
That's right.
Because it was ups and downs. It was like the Goliath at Six Flags. We were just, and every week parents say, man, my blood pressure's high. And I'm like, you think yours is high? Join us. And so, but they're also teenage boys.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, like, some kid can touch a hot stove one time. He burns his hand, he ain't touching it.
He's done.
There's other ones that are mules. They'll touch that hot stove 3 or 4 times. And we had some mules last year on that. And so what we're doing is we're trying to get rid of that. And that's been a talk this year about play each quarter like it's his last. So we want to play 12 minutes at a time. All right, and then regroup, and let's try to win 4 games inside of 1 game.
That's awesome.
So how do we do first quarter? And then when first quarter is over, no matter what happens, because there's going to be some nights where things just don't go your way. All right, and you've got to let that go, and you've got to move on to the next quarter. And, and take a baseball analogy sometimes, and I've coached softball for years. There's nothing worse than somebody you strike out on a third strike look, and now it's carried over to the outfield.
Oh, yeah.
Now you drop a ball.
Yep.
What do they have to do with each other? Nothing.
That's absolutely
It has
right.
nothing. It has to do with your mental weakness that you can't shake off that to go to that. So no matter what, the best is yet to come. Our preacher said that a long time ago, and that's always stuck with me. And he said the best is yet to come. And we have to have a mindset like that. Like no matter what happens in that first quarter, the best is yet to come. But you got to go out there and do that. And so we try to hold each other accountable with players, because sometimes it's all based on which player is talking to the other player. And so we want to get it to where everybody can talk to each other, but each player has different connections with some players, where one player can go over there and say, hey man, shake it off. We need you.
We got to go.
All right, boom, it shook off. Another player, it could be a little controversy sometimes.
Get away from me.
And so we got to figure out our get away, and we have meetings about that. We have 6 accountability teams, and we just say, you write it down. If you're in some kind of funk, who do you want trying to get you out of that? Which coach do you want getting you out of that? Which player do you want getting out in a calm setting? And so now when it gets rattled, them are the first ones that's going to get a shot at it. Hey, so-and-so's rattled, man. Go say something to him.
Go get him going.
And now if you got problems with that, you're the one that wrote it down and said that's your person to get you out.
Yeah, you got some kind of accountability right there.
Accountability of that. And so,
makes sense.
Just stuff like that I think is going to help us so much this year, growing and accomplishing our goal.
Let's break this thing down into units. We all know everybody likes butts in seats, and that usually equates over to offense. I'm not, I don't want to get into an argument. Some people's like, well, they win the game. Okay. Well, let's just start with offense, not putting them first or anything, Coach, but offensively, just some guys you're counting on this season.
Yeah, I got several. I mean, we've got, we had 5 seniors graduate last year off of last year's team, and of those guys, 2 of them rotated in some and was special teams, but our right tackle, we lost our right tackle. I lost an inside linebacker, and I lost a player that played both ways at corner and wide receiver. And so this team is very experienced at their positions. And so we've got some really good competition going on now about who, and 3 weeks ago it was all about who's going to be the starter. And so now that starter has changed roles a little bit. And I said, who's going to take the most reps at the end of the night? Because it ain't where you start, it's where you finish.
You got that right.
It's not who starts the game. So y'all are more worried about who starts at these positions that are up in the air.
That's right.
As far as our competition. So we might have 3 guys fighting for this spot, and at another position we got 3 guys spotting, and I said, who's going to get it at the end of the night where one of us offensive guys is on the headset saying, make sure this guy's in.
That's right.
And so that's what you need to be worried about, and we try to do, it's kind of weird here, we do a deal where we color code your green, yellow, and red. And green means that coach can grab you at any time and he's ready to go. A yellow is we better be cautious. We don't know your rep count yet. You might be a 10 rep, but you've got to go out and prove it. And we're putting you on some kickoffs, and you could go down and make an open field kickoff tackle, and your 10 reps a game could go to 15 just for that one tackle, because you proved to us that you can do this in a pressure situation. And then you got your reds that you're just not ready. And just be honest with the kids. This is where, you go to your position coach and you say, Coach, I don't want to be a yellow anymore. Well, you need to do this better, and have those conversations with it. And so now everybody's up.
We're all up front with it.
We're all up front with it. We're not trying to pretend, and we'll sit down and watch film with you and show. And some of our kids, they take pride. I want to be a green that a coach can grab me anytime, doesn't matter what situation. And this is the first time since I've been here that we're practicing 10 through 12. All of my 7th, 8th, and 9th are practicing junior high together. Our 9th will dress with us, but they're just not with us but one day a week. And we've never been able to do that here. We've always had several freshmen that, felt like we had to start, had to be with us. So that's encouraging, Step
in the right direction.
Yeah, so when we're up there practicing at 10 through 12, we've got, a little over 30 kids practicing, and everybody's competing. Of these 10 through 12, everybody is wanting to be a green and start, but you can't put but 11 of them out there.
That's right.
And so our practices have been some of the best practices I've been around here.
That's awesome.
Because of the competition.
Next question, Coach. Let's talk about defense a little bit. I'm the strong mindset that defense does win championships and does win football games. But who are you counting on that? And maybe some of the same guys.
Yeah, it is some of the same guys. And I will say this: for us to be 2A, we don't have many kids that are having to go both ways, and so I think that's going to help us big time.
You got that right.
We're going to have some fresh running backs on one side that's, they're not having to play a defensive rep. They're a backup in case some kind of puzzle piece, has to be made there. But, talking about two of the biggest leaders, I think, on the team, it'd be Braxton Salster and it'd be Jaden Sparks. I mean, both of them were MVPs of the region last year. Jaden, it's his senior year. Braxton works extremely hard this offseason. He got our first Division I offer in school history here in football.
That's awesome.
And so, both of them want to take on that leadership role, but there is so many players, like I could name so many that have come so far that kids look up to. Cooper Dougal's another one. He had a really good off season. Went to some camps and things like that, trying to get as much exposure as he can. Braden Papa went to Arkansas for a linebacker camp. He's one of our linebackers returning. Wesley Wheeler is a huge puzzle piece that was missing last year. He had Tommy John surgery about 3 weeks before the season started.
Baseball
and he was
injury?
our starting offensive lineman. And so this is his senior year, and he's come back as hungry as I've ever seen him. And so there's so many kids on both sides. It's just hard to mention all of them. But, on both sides of the ball, I feel like we have more experience than we've ever had. And so as coaching now, there's a difference in the knowledge of something and the detail of something. So the knowledge of something is, hey, I've got to go block this linebacker. The detail is I might have to get skinny because he's going to see this motion coming at me, and the details of how I go block him. Well, what's great about this team is we're diving into the details this year, where last year it seemed like we were more knowledge basis. Hey, you're cover 3 and you got the middle of the thirds now. You got to be here. Where now they're seeing how teams can variate and what are my details to make sure they don't do that to me.
Which makes you more multiple.
There's no doubt.
You can do more things.
There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
And it helps our coaches too. This, I'm going to brag on them. We've got 6, counting me, I got 6 varsity coaches, and then and we've got 3 junior high that are paid. And so we get to do position drills in junior high.
That's awesome.
Now, you rewind this thing about 3 to 4 years ago, there was 4 of us up here doing it, and that was
Total.
7 through 12. And so, we didn't even know who the junior high coach was. We were taking turns being the junior high coach and make sure that 2 of us stay here and 2 of us take our junior high somewhere to a game, and it was tough. And,
wow.
And that was that's another turning point to say, hey, if we want to be good, you go back and look, and when Pleasant Valley's been its worst is you have to have manpower and you got to have resources. Manpower is somebody pouring into these kids. So they've got 6 varsity coaches right now that every one of our players know that they are grinding as hard as they can to make sure they get as much knowledge every week to succeed at their positions. And they see us so tight as a coaching staff, and I think that helps a lot. It helps with the players' camaraderie because they see us cutting up too. We don't like each other just in the coaching staff. We'll go play golf together, we'll hang out together, and we want our players to do that too. Hey man, go fish together. Go. Let's. We do a lot of team activities where we had a bowling champion or something like that. Let's go do something outside of football and let's enjoy that. And that makes us enjoy something that we love even more.
It makes a lot of sense, Coach. Before we get out of here, we got to talk about the X factor. It's always special teams.
Yeah.
You got to be sound in special teams as well. It's 1/3 of the game. A lot of people overlook it, but I'm sure you do not. So let's talk about that unit a little bit.
Yeah, special teams, you got 3 phases and you got to win 2 out of 3. So on special teams, I really think this year that, our return game could be very deadly. Because we've got as much, if not more, speed than Pleasant Valley's ever had. And so, getting those guys in some spots where they can have some kickoff return, punt returns, and sometimes that can turn into, a punter a little nervous about punting to somebody and somebody shanks one out, and then one thing that we went back and looked last year, how many times we missed a fair catch that I thought we should have fair caught it, because a lot of times people don't understand if you don't have to return them all, but if you fair catch them, you're not losing how many yards off of that roll. And so sometimes those 20-yard rolls, those 15-yard rolls add up, and it was something like 12 first downs that we could have had.
Wow.
You know, off of just being able to fair catch that ball. And so, you know, I think stuff like that, you know, pays big dividends. And special teams is going to help us on the fact of some of these guys that are not starting. I've already drawn them a map of how you become a starter.
There you
one
go.
of those is special teams. So the better they do on special teams, the more reps you can get on the other side that you're trying to start at.
You're going to go from yellow to green real quick
Yeah,
if you
yellow
do
to
that.
green, that's what we're wanting.
Hey, you can put that on a T-shirt,
There
Coach.
you go.
Coach, man, I appreciate you sitting in. Normally these last usually about half this time, but we wanted to catch everybody up, and also want to thank S&H Waterproofing and Construction for their continued support of all these North Alabama schools, including this beautiful one right here at Pleasant Valley. Coach Nix, thank you so much, sir. We'll be back here each and every week with another episode.
Definitely appreciate it. Appreciate you coming out here.
Great time.